Welcome to Live Well, Dream Big. I'm Suzanne Monroe, founder of the International Association of Wellness Professionals, where I've been teaching people how to live a life of wellness, tap into their passion, and go for their dreams for over 15 years. I believe living well and dreaming big starts with ourselves. This podcast will show you how to create a healthy, holistic life, empower your mindset, follow your dreams, and make a big impact. Let's dive in right now. Welcome to Live Well, Dream Big. I'm excited for today's episode. Today's episode is a special type of episode, a read aloud, where I'm going to be reading aloud from my book, Live Well, Dream Big, the ultimate guide to becoming your best self and living life on your own terms. And I'm going to be sharing with you some actionable tips and tools as we go along. And really, I want to help you to avoid one of the biggest problems that I see people experiencing today: burnout. Burnout is on the rise. People are more stressed than ever. They're experiencing overwhelm and anxiety, and all of this is mounting and leading to burnout. Now, if you've heard my personal story before, then you know I'm speaking from personal experience here. So we're going to be diving into Wellness 360, which is included in this book, and we're going to be looking at the specific elements that make up Wellness 360 and applying it to burnout, so you can get on with living your best life, feeling more energized, and living well and dreaming big. So join me right now. Hey everyone, Suzanne Monroe here. I'm excited to be doing a read aloud today for my book, Live Well, Dream Big, the ultimate guide to becoming your best self and living life on your own terms. I'm going to be diving into different sections in the book and looking at a specific element of Wellness 360. Today's element is spirituality. Do a little read aloud and hopefully have a conversation with you about some actionable tips and tools that you can start applying to your life right now to become more energized, to avoid burnout, and really start reclaiming your life. So we're focusing on spirituality, which is one of the Wellness 360 elements. And if you're not familiar with Wellness 360 yet, the IAWP holistic system, then I encourage you, first of all, you could get the guide, which you can go over to iawpwellnesscoach.com/guide. And then you'll get the Wellness 360 wheel and roadmap and some tips and tools to help you get started and get a better understanding of Wellness 360. We'll also do that today when we look just at spirituality. And we're going to walk through the three layers that make up this element. So every element in Wellness 360 has 3 layers. And the other thing is all the elements are interconnected. So that's an important point that we'll look at in a minute. Spirituality. Well, every part of our being affects how we feel, the choices we make, and how we actually move through the world, right? And spirituality might be one of the biggest parts of that, which means it's crucial to consider in our wellness practice and our wellness journey. Oftentimes, we don't always think of spirituality being related to our health. We're not just a physical body, though, that operates like a machine. We also have an internal world that is rich and vast. And while that internal world might be sometimes elusive, it's still there and it's present. And it deeply affects how we feel connected to ourselves and to the world around us. Let's talk about the 3 layers. On the external layer of Wellness 360, the element of spirituality reminds us that our physical bodies are the most obvious aspect of ourselves, right? But they're not all of who we are. We also have, I believe, an energetic body or a spiritual layer to ourselves that really connects our physical body and impacts our well-being. Now, this doesn't refer to specific religions or personal beliefs, right? It's about drawing a connection between our physical health and the spiritual aspect of us that exists as human beings. Now, on the internal layer of spirituality, we take the element one step into the internal layer, and that's to the inside. And for spirituality, it represents our inner world. Spirituality is about going within and discovering what's there to support you. Of course, there are a variety of spiritual practices that you can incorporate into your life in order to support your own well-being. It could be things like meditation, visualization, prayer, so many other beautiful and healing spiritual practices. Or maybe you practice a particular religion that helps you to feel supported in your life. On the symbolic layer, the element of spirituality represents connection, right? Spirituality is our connection to something greater than ourselves. And it's how we give our lives meaning. And this helps to drive our purpose, our passion, and even our mission in life. Let's talk about some ways to balance this element and bring it to our awareness, really, and help us to avoid burnout if that's something that you're experiencing. First of all, get connected to something bigger. Okay. Spirituality represents connection. It represents belonging. Get reconnected with your inner world to find out what your intuition is trying to tell you. Let your own inner guide come through and help guide you to the right spiritual practices for you. Now, you might already have a spiritual practice that really guides you, but if you're somebody who maybe has turned away from that, then you might feel a little lost in that area, right? Tune in and see what's coming through for you. And carve out time for your spiritual practice. First of all, in our modern world, it's easy to really get caught up in the rush of life. You might sometimes feel like you hardly have time for even breathing. Commit to slowing down, finding more space in your life, and thinking about the spiritual practices that really resonate for you. And then experiment with different spiritual practices. Stay open to all the ways that you can be spiritual and nourish and grow your own spirituality. If one thing doesn't work for you, don't worry, keep moving, right? Instead of giving up, there's something out there, I can guarantee you, that's really perfect for you. And also do a Wellness 360 check. Okay, this is important. We want to look at Wellness 360 and realize that spirituality as an element does not act alone. We're going to look at all the other elements, and we can do this for ourselves and look at this interconnection. Because if we just look at one element and try to fix it, sometimes it can be a Band-Aid approach. It might initially support the element, but if what's causing the element to be out of balance and it's in a different area, then it's going to be more like a Band-Aid approach. Okay, so instead we want to get to the root cause. So what could be affecting spirituality? Well, gosh, so many things, right? Let's say that our purpose in life, we don't feel connected to our purpose in life, right? And so that's making us feel somehow spiritually disconnected. But really, we can still be spiritual without knowing what our purpose is, right? For example, the element of rest could be out of balance. Rest is all about finding downtime and time to restore and fill up ourselves and take care of our inner world. Well, if we're too busy, then we may be impacting our element of spirituality because we aren't carving out time for that. So again, these interconnections are unique to you. I encourage you to go on a journey and figure them out for yourself and see what comes through. And then it's about making small steps and shifts. And I love that because Michael Delorio, who is in the Live Well, Dream Big guidebook, talks about his journey through the element of spirituality and finding his own answers within. And he has an incredible story and journey that he's gone on. And he went through some painful things in his life. And it wasn't until he was finally willing to look at himself that things change. In fact, he says, for the first time in my life, I didn't recognize myself. I felt insecure, weak, and hopeless, and I didn't like myself. And he thought to himself, if I'm so smart, why can't I figure this out? I think we've all felt that at one time or another. His story is super inspiring about how he finds the answers within him. They were there the whole time, and how he applies this to the life and what he goes on to experience later. And he admits he's no enlightened master. He's like everyone on this life's journey. It can be an infuriating undertaking of pain, anger, and hopelessness. But he's learned that these moments present the greatest opportunities for growth. And he gets to apply these lessons and zigzag his way to living a more satisfying life in the process. Check out Michael's story in the book. And remember today, just try out one way to support ending your own burnout, reclaiming your health, and really starting to feel your very best. We look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of Live Well, Dream Big. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. And I want to invite you to take your next step toward living well and dreaming big by downloading the Live Well, Dream Big lifestyle book. It's the ultimate guide to becoming your best self and living life on your own terms. You can grab your complimentary copy by going to the link in the show notes or heading directly to iawpwellnesscoach.com/guide. That's iawpwellnesscoach.com/guide.